Alright, good morning and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at something a little bit different. This is a really special one for me. A good friend of mine named Prodigy, who I got into Gwent maybe about a year and a half ago, made the deck, sent me the deck on Snapchat, and he's like, bro, you gotta try this out. So I was like, alright, it looks good. I'm sure it'll play fine. It looks greedy, and I like it. So let's get to it here. I got 4 games for you guys today, and we're going to be playing some Bounty. I haven't played a lot of Bounty this season. There was a day or two that I was experimenting with different types of Bounty decks, but I wasn't able to find something that works quite the way I wanted it to. And I think after playing the game, it's a bold statement, but I'm going to say it, I think that this might be the best Bounty deck I've played or have seen so far. Even though it looks like it doesn't have the most consistency with only Vivaldi Bank for our, deck thinning and consistency, it really just plays super well if you have really disciplined mulligans. So let's get into it here. Looks like we're playing against Mill first. This should be pretty annoying. Again, we're trading pretty well. When we put down these low value engines like the Vigilantes, like they'll add up if they're not taken care of, so they have to remove them. But then it really helps us keep our spenders on the board. So, and the synergy there is just great. Helps us complete the kills and whatnot, so Pirate's Cove just makes sense in this case. We don't need a lot of cards to generate profit because we're just recycling bounties so fluently. So it's nice to see a lot of new cards in play as well. This one's pretty price of power prominent, we'll say. Fabian goes down. Fabian's good. It has the Intimidate, so we might as well get it down before we play the Crime card. And we can just go ahead and, put a bounty on it, damage it.
Time to get our hands dirty.
And they continue to mill and mill and mill. I'm really glad that we won second in this matchup. It's a really good deck to bring on red, I think. It's a little bit tricky if you're bringing on blue, but you do have the Witchfinder to put bleeding on everything, and we don't have to worry too much about that. That's what it's called, right? This guy, top right.
You shall know the Emperor's fury. Truly
And so now they're just absolutely swinging here. Now it looks like we're out of the race here, but we do have tons of push. Scoundrel's a good spender. A little bit of a mill to them. We'll take the tribute, and honestly, Vigilante's on the board. The Courier's a pretty good coin here, so we'll bring that out, damage it, complete the kill with the 3 coins that we have. Super calculated, and we'll just get those right back. Now, we can look at potentially spending maybe one of the leader charges next turn, just because they made the full leader commitment. This might help us sort of, just stay ahead of them. That's really annoying. Brute comes out for 6 points. That's kind of one of our really expensive cards. 13 provision for that there. So, out of sheer frustration, let's just go ahead and play some cards here. We'll get the bounty going, and normally I don't really feel that Mill likes to pass a whole lot, right? Because they try and get that card back once they've milled you down, so it's okay to kind of be a card behind and taking our time to really set it up properly. And that's not a very good Cantarella for them, unfortunately. It would be great, if we pulled into that later on in the game, but that's fine. I'm thinking about playing Graydon, but it's not a requirement here. Purge is pretty good. That's kind of what we want. Completes the kill. It's kind of busted. When you have a bunch of Witch Hunters on the board, it's pretty wild. And then we'll just respect it, stay ahead here. And then, at this point, we're pretty well prepared to go all in. Mata actually is very good for us, because now we don't have to play as many good cards from hand. We could probably just spend down on the Jackal here, because they've already played the Vilgeforts, and then look to just take the Bloody Good in the best way possible. One more click. And there we go. 2 clicks. Brings us right up to 7. And it keeps it, like, super hard for them to get to, right? We get that extra 2 off the Vigilante, the extra bounty down. If we have to go into this round a bit further, we could just put down the Horse and Freak Show, and I think that's fine. Or even the Graydon in that event, because Graydon's probably a bit more secure just to throw away at this point, given that we don't have any cards to place bounties. But winning on even, going into round 2, and Normally with this matchup, we like to look for that 2-0 against Mill, and depending on what we pull, then that's probably the best bet, right? Handful of golds doesn't really get better than this. I normally would mulligan back the Vivaldi Bank, but in this instance, I just don't feel like they've milled us enough to really care. So I'm trying to end this one in 2, and the extra 3 coins that we're going to get from that's going to be great, right? And we'll just go ahead and put that down there. I want to use it early just in case, for whatever reason, they mill that. And then we can just look at, you know, putting bounty, killing, putting bounty, killing, you know, it's kind of the process that we're going to rinse and repeat here. So, got the big slap on it, easy clap. It's 2 hits there, the coins come right back. And we're just asserting dominance on the board here. If you guys like control decks, you definitely got to try something like this out. When it works well, it's really satisfying. I would imagine that it's going to have a little bit tricky time against something like traps, or maybe something like some of the Skellige decks, depending, you know, because we have a lot of cards that we have to keep alive, like our spenders. But and that's fine. We'll take it just because whatever, right? The extra point there. Still feeling pretty good. That's going to be a really good bounty for us here. It's going to fill the bank right up, and we have ways to kind of get rid of that. And just use, why not? Offensive points are always better in my opinion, but I'll take the insanity. There we go. Hit the coin right back, and you see how it is. The next card that they play will probably just, you know, Caleb, Graydon. There was consideration there to just use Graydon on that turn, but I felt like I'd rather just keep the board empty for now and not keep anything of ours too tall, so not too worried about the outcome of this one here. Now we have a free bounty that we can give off of the card that we just pulled into, and then we have like so many coins that we can just, you know, deal with for the Jackal, so it's fine. Easy win, 2-0, and let's go on to the next one here. So this is like a leader you never see. So I'm really excited about this, you know, new opportunity here. I'm not really sure what they're playing. It could be pretty well anything at this point. So often those matchups are actually the hardest ones because you don't really know, you know, how do I take my mulligans exactly the way we need to in this matchup? You know, what are we willing to commit in round 1 versus round 3, right? There's so many different variables that get a little bit mixed up when you see unconventional leader abilities. So I'm trying to treat it like a normal game here. Let's just put down our engines, get some point on the board.
It hasn't backfired yet.
The little boost, I mean, I think it's inspired zeal for a reason more than often, right? Now, here's the thing, like, you could take the Muriels here, and in some instances that might have been the right play, but I kind of wanted to save it, even if it meant wasting a few coin, just because I felt like there's going to be a better Muriels later. Again, I don't want to use like an easy removal card when I feel like eventually we can just kind of come back into the round, even if they push. The card that we just removed was a big one. So Dandelion actually feels like a really good Muriels target, because if that lives, that's going to generate so much carryover. So, you know, that's something that I'm planning towards at this point. All we need to get is 6 coins, so it's not too bad. And for tempo reasons alone, just put that down here. We get 4. We're almost there, guys. 2 coins and that's gone. So they respect the Vigilante. That's good. I mean, that would have gotten a lot of points throughout the round here. One of those things where the hand's really good. I seen boiling oil, so I felt like there's a good chance that this will stay alive here. And with 8 coins now in pocket, then we have the means to just take care of the Dandelion as well. So that's actually very good. It gets tenfold better once they boost it with the Marine. This is probably the best removal we're going to see. And the leader charge, they're going wild here. So I think that's just fine. I guess they weren't expecting a Maril's in the deck, so we caught them by surprise with that one there. Removes it, and it pretty well pushes them out of the round, because now if they try and go for it, we can just put down a bounty and kill something, or even just use Purge, you know. It's not too bad, but we certainly probably have a pass here, right? I would say so. Amphibious into a Marine is the only thing that would kind of bring it back within reach for them in one turn at least. So that's like a little bit of an indication that maybe they're running Siege, or maybe it's just straight formation. It's hard to tell. I've seen Siege with Dandelion before, but again, it could be anything here. So I kind of want to respect whatever they have coming at this point and just kind of look for a pass. I feel like, you know, Amphibious probably gets it for them here, but again, anything else from us is kind of an overcommitment, and Purge on its own here is not strong enough. So, you know, this will take it with their leader cooldown.
Best give up now.
It's one of those things though, if they use the cooldown before the round ends, we come into the new round and then they don't have it on the first turn. So theoretically they're using it more throughout the match, but are they actually? It's tough one with the cooldown leaders. I think that there has to be some sort of rework for this one, and for Onslaught, it just feels like they're a little bit power crept with the big points line leaders that we have these days. So they fought really hard for round 1, but for whatever reason they just decided to go and pass on round 2. So we're able to kind of keep most of what we need for round 3. I would say that the commitments are not too bad on our side. We didn't really spend a whole much that I'm upset with spending, so neither did they as well. It could be anyone's game at this point. And it's a rinse and repeat formula. You get the hang of it throughout the few games here that we're doing. There's the sequence that you generally follow. You want to get down those vigilantes when you're looking to play bounties, like the card before. You want to get down the tax collectors before that, because, you know, coins are definitely priority here. And if it doesn't work out, then you just start playing things. Obviously, we don't want to put bounty cards that deploy give bounties on an empty board, but this is probably the best proactive play that we have, since we only have that one spender, or one effective spender left, right? And so, looking back to how this game panned out, you know, obviously, because I played it a little while ago, I would have done this turn a little bit differently. Did not respect maybe a potential full test or anything like that. So the Dun banner stays. We could have easily used in the Insanity, but I wanted to greed out the extra coin we would have gotten the next turn after, you know, she put the bounty on it. Now we have another problem to deal with, and it could cost us the game, because now we have to revert our bounty from the Dun banner onto the King full test. Then we have to remove that, and it's going to take 2 turns to do it. So it's actually very annoying, and it costed us like around 10 points, give or take. So more even. Think about it this way: they would have just had a card sitting there, just a full test sitting there, or having to put down something first. So now they have 13 points and counting. I'm telling you guys, next time I come into this matchup, I'm going to be prepared, and we're taking no chances. So Anna Strenger comes down. If you guys saw the shield wall deck I posted the other day, Anna Strenger makes a return. She was putting in some huge work for us, but it's cool to see it in play again. And look at all the points, like, this could have just been avoided, man. Let's get the extra one, get rid of the problem now, and we gotta start focusing on something else. At least Anna gets the bounty here, so then we can go and we can take that Graydon as soon as possible, which is awesome. Or we can even just, you know, remove it with our spenders here. And since she's not boosting, that might be actually a consideration. Foltest Pride comes down with crew. This is another thing that we would have prevented, guys. Like, again, if we would have been able to remove that Dun banner. It's crazy how one little card can change the game dramatically, even when it doesn't seem like much. So we'll just Graydon here. Just get rid of that. That's fine. Get the little boost. And they're going to get that cooldown quite a bit, right? It's cooldown 2, they have 4 cards left in hand, so I'm kind of concerned about that. It's been a while since I've seen this card. Once, like, way before I was in pro rank, and like way before I either did streaming or YouTube or anything like that, I thought I was so good with this deck where I put, it was Nathaniel with Corvo, and I had it behind a defender, and I was just getting everything to boost it, and there was so much bleeding on the board, and I thought I basically created a meta, but I realized it was probably one of the more conditional decks that I played. At least Anna's out of the way, because Anna beside that would be nasty. You know, Anna beside that, Drummer on the other side, Corvo or something, giving it boosts every turn. Like, it can get out of hand real quick. Tough part is, at this point, we don't have a lot of resources to kill things off and stuff, so, you know, I'm thinking, okay, what can we actually remove without spending everything? Put that there, and we can just take the spend here, get the coins right back to 9, and then look at taking the tribute at the end, and just boosting all of our witch hunters, because we have quite a few at this point. And we'll just kind of assert some dominance here. Sometimes it's like a psychological thing, maybe. I don't know. Play intimidating so that they just think maybe there's no hope. Whatever, you know? Or you could hold back the charges for the leader until last turn. It doesn't really make a huge difference. So Beggar's okay. Like, you can just give a click here and just play that and kind of hold off on the last play. I'm a little bit concerned about them potentially pulling into like a Baron, so we got to be careful about that. But a pretty big lead. Only one of their units has, like, one of our units has bleeding on it. Tried him going down for pretty much nothing is not a big deal at all. So but it's almost anyone's game. I mean, we have a lot of coins in the bank. We take the tribute here and we can just click that Jackal twice, and that one little coin of spillover, but again, they're going to have to do 20 points to beat us here, so what's going to be? Cohen down's interesting. It's like a mini boost that played for 4, 5, 6 points in that case. We're moving on to the third game for today, so you guys know I've done this a lot in the past. We have Precision Strike, and this one's like looking like a no unit off the get-go, right? We have the Lamp Gen down, and whenever I see that, I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. So this is actually really good that we had this included, because this is going to be one of those matchups where Bounty struggles. You know, they go unitless off the get-go, right? Synthesis comes down. Kind of messes up our round 1 strategy already. And what would no unit be without Maddock, right? So I'm just gonna keep playing cards, basically, and we kind of want to run out of all those bombs so that on round 3, or wherever it takes us, we're gonna be able to just interact with more units. So I'm actually trading right here, because they're maybe running 5 or 6 bombs in a deck, and we're counting every single one they play, so that's 2. And again, put it on the opposite row so they can't kill it with Maddock clicks. They gotta use a new bomb for it, so. And these matchups are definitely frustrating to play, but you just have to kind of realize, like, it's all good. Thought about putting on Lamp Gym, but then again, if they click Madoc, then at least we're getting 3 free coins, so that's kind of why we went and took the Madoc here. They're actually helping us with the removal of that if they want to continue to do the same strategy they're using, so it might kind of make them slow down a little bit at this point, maybe play something else. And as we anticipated, Rebuke comes down instead. I decided to put on the pressure a little bit. I think, you know, a couple units on the board to interact with are fine. We still get our coin back from that. The score's pretty even. If they pass, we can just kind of play a card here and whatever. We'll be alright. It really helps with our leader. It helps us extend, you know, our reach within a round. Like, even if they passed on me here, we didn't want to play one of our golds, we could just put down like a purge and just click the leader once. I kind of feel like the round's going to get a little bit awkward for them. So there's consideration just to play here. I don't know if Caleb's going to get very good value in this matchup, which is why I'm just going to go ahead and put him down for the 6 points right now. And if we need to use it, we can definitely use it. If they play something a bit taller than 3 points, let's say. But now it's actually perfectly set up for the grade in, and I don't think we're going to get a much better grade in than this in the match. So we'll just go ahead and take. Puts it within reach. Now if they pass, we can literally take it off of Purge. So looking for that pass still, and even if they don't pass and they want to crank it, then we can reassess and see if it's worth playing the Freak Show. So easy just to kind of go ahead and do that. Now I know that they don't have a lot of that no unit stuff left, right? They're going to have Tiger, which we could play around later, and, you know, maybe the casual Heat Wave and stuff like that. So it preserves basically us being able to look at the gourd and maybe deal with that later on. We have a spender in hand, we have a backup spender. Pretty wild because this deck is it has a lot of good synergy, so even the bronze packages like play for a pretty big trade up here. I decided I wanted to take a long round 3 because I kind of want to pull into Muriel, so we want to guarantee last say and you know, make sure that we have to have them struggle for proactivity instead of us. It gets a little bit easier if they catch us in points, because I know a lot of precision strike decks will still run Sim Last and stuff like that. So it makes it a little bit tricky if they go ahead and swing something like this out. Too many spenders at this point. Vigilante just dies though, so Muriel's is probably just better in this case. Even if the spenders get killed off, they're still generating some points, so I don't feel too bad about that. And we gotta figure out a way to get, obviously, 2 units on a row at the same time. I'm gonna probably just take a gamble here and put down the second Jackal, because I don't think we want to go too tall anyways. So just having the body on the playing field is going to negate that Saber Tiger. Just go with that here. I don't value the Freak Show quite as much here, just because I feel like we have other good spenders, and we're probably going to want to go for a Muriel's. That's actually super awkward. I've never seen, well, if I have, it's just been forever, Black Blood in this deck. So whenever we boost our next unit, that unit's going to be destroyed. And it's either going to be Brute or it's going to be the Sea Jackal, and there's not really a way to avoid it, because if we want to play our hand down to nothing, Brute has to be played, and Brute's going to be boosting itself. So we might have to actually hope that they damage the Jackal and then sacrifice it and try to get a better trade on that than the Brute, because I think the Brute's just too many points. But either way, if the Brute has to go, at least we're getting some profit from it. taking our time with this one, deciding what we're going to be doing. And we have a lot of points in hand. Gezra's down is interesting, I guess. They're looking for an opportunity to use leader, and obviously using it as like an offensive Gezra's. The fact that we have the Jackal here getting hit, it feels like something that, you know, maybe we can put like a click into and just get it over with. Thinking about taking the Morels here, it could amount to quite a few points if we let it stick. And I'm just trying to do the simple math and just kind of see if it's more points than the Gourd. And if they went down with full leader and, you know, we're able to get the Sentinels on the back row and do that whole thing, it could potentially just be more points. So now I'm thinking about Brute. Because if we get a Heat Wave out early, then other cards live. We'll take another turn to think about it though. There it is. Just get rid of that right away. And the fact that that has bounty on it and they're going to click it, it helps us kind of complete the kill a bit easier. So it's a pretty good trade-off for us. Gezra's gone, so they put it on the front row. And Professional. So I'm thinking last card, Gourd. They got 7 points from Tiger that's hidden right now. It should just be enough for us. Just put some bleeding here because we don't have an effective spender beyond that. 1 on each is fine because it's only going to tick off once. So it puts them down to 12 points plus whatever they get off the Gourd. And, you know, 12 point Gourd's alright. It's good for 7 provisions. 24 and 19. All we need is 5 points. And we'll take it here with that. We got one more game for today. And I was feeling good today. Like, I recorded this deck, and then I made another deck, and I recorded some games for that. And I was just on fire today. Like, I wasn't losing games. It was definitely a lot of fun. But I decided after a few hours of playing, like, you know, we'll take a little break. Now we got Double Cross, Nilfgaard. This one's going to be a good matchup for any doubters, right? We got pretty much like what the meta has entailed for the last like month and a half, 2 months, against something that's sort of mid-rangey like what we have here. This will be a true test. And you guys start to see the formula with this one here. Task Collector is going to go down. If they kill it, we'll just put down the second one. You know, we'll go into the Vigilantes. We'll look at giving bounty, and then we'll look at killing off whatever the bounty is given to. So that's kind of the formula. These engines add up so damn quick. Megascope on it's kind of interesting. That tells me this deck might have some scary stuff, right? They've got the decked out leader skins, they've got, you know, the homebrews. Like, this could be something spicy, so we gotta be careful here. I really like that card that they play though, the, is it the Hunter? The Assimilate Engine that damages by 2. I used to always rock that with my Masquerade Ball decks. I felt like it was a great card. It just helped extend kills and stuff, so... And then it acts as an engine after the fact. So I was a little bit worried about this matchup too, because they have all that tempo with the thinning packages. The Blight Makers are huge. And that can get pretty ugly if we have a spender for them to duplicate, right? So I have to, like, sort of think outside the box. We want to obviously... If I was to go back and redo that play right there, guys, I would have spent 1 bleeding prior to finishing the kill, so we didn't overprofit by 1. I caught that just now. But here we go. We'll put on 2 turns on bleeding, except for, like, the Tax Collector, because that'll just die off by itself. We'll save that coin and make up for it a little bit here. And this should help us get out of the round. You know, we do have a little bit more reach. I kept 4 coins for a reason. And we'll use the other Witch Hunter to basically put bounty on something that we can kill off and then get a little bit more spending money. Now, on a pass, we're tied. Yeah, so I could pass here. This is the pass, but we kind of know that we're in a pretty good spot. So we'll just go ahead. That's a pretty good trade up, right? Easy kill. We don't have to do anything. And then we can just apply like another turn of bleeding on everything. I feel like at this point of the round, let's take it because it feels like it's ours. So we got all the bleeding here and then another turn of that. It'll definitely be a pass for us. And then we definitely want to get out right now because I don't want to be spending more golds here.
My duty? To stick my nose where it doesn't belong.
Can't remember if I greeted it. I think I might actually just go Scoundrel. It's tough because we can't put bleeding on anything else. Like, it's... the board's already... bleeding all over the place, right? That might make the next Blightmaker a little bit, you know, more awkward. And we'll just put one here. And honestly, this has to chase them out of the round, right? Like, they'll have to full crank leader and just put down maybe like a Brathens or something. Okay, we took the round. It was one of those situations where it might have felt like an overcommitment, but if we didn't just put down Scoundrel, we would have lost the round. And then they can bleed us with their leader, and their leader's really good, especially in like a mid-range round, because they're more likely to pull into something pretty good. That's a good pushing hand, to be honest with you. Leader kind of saves us if we get caught slipping. We have to get our card back with 2 charges there. You know, they're not going to see a lot of value from what's left in our hand if we can play it like top heavy first, right? So that's kind of what I'm keeping in mind here. Giving them that long round is going to be very tricky. I want to remove this just so they can't boost it and they can't get more of my card's spine. And again, we could start to like make some defense for us here. Next turn, there's a consideration to put down one of the Jackals just to have the extra points on the board. Because we are going 2 cards down right here, right? A little bit slow. We know that we have to take care of that Illusionist. Like, those are super tricky right now, so I'm thinking, even though Horson's on the bottom, this is probably just the right play. And it's not worth taking the Insanity on it, because then they can coup it. Keep the board state kind of empty here. This combo gets ruined from us just wiping the board earlier, and
corporations are people too.
actually, that's just the tax collector. That's not a big deal at all. They're not really using it for much. They probably want a leader here. Yep. So that's kind of what we're hoping for. And we know that anything that they pull from our hands not really going to give them enough to get ahead on this turn. So we're still in a good spot where we can actually pass and keep our leader in order and stuff like that. Again, I'm not super convinced that they're going to really do a whole lot to help them here. So we could probably just continue to play. Brute goes down for the point slam. And there's a couple things we have to worry about, like Terra Nova would be annoying. Joachim, like I haven't seen like a Brathens or anything like that. So again, there's definitely more stuff to worry about. Risking it all with the Insanity there. I just want to have as little on the board as possible. And the reason is because at this point, I feel like if they go super tall on this one unit, you know, like if they were to boost it, for example, we have really good reach with the Graydon. Unfortunately, in this case, we have a Veil unit come on the board. I feel like, you know, a lot's just been spent. Joachim's out. And, you know, doing the math on a second Joachim, it shouldn't give them the points to just get ahead. So I'm taking this here. And I don't know if we're going to get a better Graydon in the match. So I'm willing to lose round if it means going all in with it. I think defender should have went on the melee roll. I guess maybe they weren't thinking Graydon. But that helps us here. We can just spend these coins defensively because we don't want to start wasting coin on the armor on the defender. They have to do a lot of points in the next 2 cards. If you guys stuck around to the end as well, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I look at putting out videos every single day, and it's always going to be something new and exciting to play. So that's huge. Last card, again, Dead Man's Tongue. That wouldn't be enough. And these games were played 4 in a row, guys. I'm not even joking with you. Give this deck a try, and we'll see you soon.